thought I'd get on here and share just something that's been on my mind. And this is going to speak to those who have been through narcissistic abuse. I want to talk about the invalidation around the question, why didn't you just leave? This is a question that needs to be talked about. And I know other people cover it and talk about it, but I'm going to put my 2 cents in this. So let's talk about it. So many people, when they're coming out of abuse or they're in it, a lot of people who mean well will say things like, why are you not leaving? Why are you tolerating this kind of abuse? Why are you letting them treat you this way? It's a fair question. It's an honest question that we can ask somebody, but it does more damage than good to the survivor or the victim, whether they're in it or they're out, they've survived it, or they're still in it and they're being a victim to abuse. It does damage. And sometimes what it can do is push that person to stay in the dysfunctional, abusive relationship longer, because you may be the only person they have to talk to. And when you victim blame, because that's what it is, you're basically taking ownership of the abuse from the abuser and you're putting it now on the victim, because you're asking them, why don't you do this? Why are they having to fix it? Why is the victim have to fix this? Why do they have to come up with an answer for you to tell you why they're staying? If they had an answer, they would give it to you. If they had an answer, they would give it to themselves. And for those coming out of narcissistic abuse in the beginning, we do not know what's going on. Our head is not on straight. We have been gaslit so much that we don't know what is up and what is down. So please show some grace, and please don't ask those kinds of questions to someone who's reaching out to you for help. The biggest and the most impactful thing you can do for a survivor of narcissistic abuse or someone that's currently in it is to just be an ear, because we want to talk. We need to talk. And because, first of all, we've been closed up for so long. We've not had a voice. Our voice has been taken. But as soon as we begin the process of leaving, we begin to realize what has happened. And slowly but surely, our eyes, the scales start to come off. And as we're waking up, oh my goodness, do we need to talk about it? And we can't help it. And it's not to talk about it because we want attention, just to make that clear, or that we want sympathy even. We just need to talk about it because we're so shocked and in awe and in disbelief that we've actually just been through what we've been through. If what all the psychologists are saying is right, if all the things I'm reading are right, wow. And you need people to talk to. That's why I recommend therapy. But again, if you're going to do therapy, you have to go to somebody who's trained in narcissistic abuse or has at least a good idea about it, because they're not going to be able to ask you the right questions. And they may even gaslight you. They may say, okay, well, what's your part in this? You have trauma as a child too. And, your trauma attracted their trauma. And it's made a mutual problem. An abusive relationship is now becoming a mutual problem. Like you partook in that abuse. It's so discrediting, so dismissive to the survivor or the victim. It is just it's gaslighting, because now what's going to happen is that person is going to walk away thinking, oh my goodness, what did I do? We've been asking ourselves that all along in the relationship or in the marriage. We've been asking ourselves forever. Is it me? What have I done? I'm not doing this enough. I don't work hard enough. I didn't cook that properly. I don't make his meals enough. You question everything you do. You've been doing it for years in your relationship. The last thing we need is someone making us question, okay, was this my trauma that attracted this abuse? Please stop. please stop these questions. I say this in support and as an advocate for survivors because I'm one of them. And I can tell you from my personal experience, we don't have the answers, okay? We've been trying to find the answers as long as we've been in this relationship. We've been trying to find the answers. And if we had them, we'd freely give it to you. The only answers we're going to get is once we start to heal and we start to learn about narcissism. But if you don't want to learn about narcissism, if you're a supporter and you know someone that's been through it, and if you don't want to take the time to learn about what has happened to them, what they went through, what they experienced, what the abuser is actually doing, and that they are in fact an abuser, this is domestic violence. Being in a romantic relationship with a narcissist is domestic violence, okay? So if you want to help, it's so important that you begin to do the research, that you begin to listen to videos like this, and you begin to understand so that you can meet that need of your friend or your loved one, so that you can ask the right questions or you can give the right words of encouragement, because you're not going to really be able to give too much advice. Again, it takes time to recover after these relationships because your head's on backwards. Yeah, it's just so much. Like there's projection from these people. There's gaslighting. Your reality is so messed up. You don't even know what's real. So we have to keep this in mind that if we're going to support people that have been through narcissistic abuse, you've got to try to do a little bit of research yourself and understand what exactly is this? What am I dealing with here? How can I best meet the need of my loved one who's going through this? Maybe your loved one is in it still and they can't leave. They're stuck. And I get it. I understand. Like from the outside looking in, I get the frustration, especially when you love them. You want to just rip them out of that situation. You want to tell them. You want to help them. The problem is there's a deeper root here, and it's called the trauma bond. Look up the trauma bond, okay? Understand it. Know how it works. Understand how it's developed. And then you'll be able to understand better why they're not leaving, why they're staying in this mess. Because most times, I'm going to say 7 out of 10 times, and it's just a wild guess off the top of my head, they don't even know they're in a trauma bond. They don't even know what a trauma bond is, okay? So I just wanted to get on here and share that. It's going through my mind, and I hear it so often. I see it online. I see people asking that question. I've had people ask me that question in the past. Oh, I would never stay if someone did that to me. How do you tolerate that? I could never deal or put up with that. Like these kinds of questions are just so invalidating and just so dismissive of the victim or the survivor. So if I could just share that. And I say that all with kindness. I really, really do. And I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I may seem a bit agitated as I'm sharing this, and perhaps I am, because I see what it does to people. I've even seen how it pushes people back into the relationship because you may be the only support system they have and you're just making them feel worse. And so what do? They go back to the abuser because they feel they just got nowhere to go. No one understands what they're feeling. And sometimes the abuser gets us to a place where they're the only person we have to go to. And it sounds crazy. But if you look up another definition is called Stockholm Syndrome. Look that up as well. It's where there was a situation in Stockholm, an actual hostage taking, I believe. I should probably look this up before I talk about it. I did look it up before, but I don't know if I remember correctly, but it's a situation where people were taken hostage. And by the end of the hostage, by the time it came to an end, the hostages actually felt sympathy for the hostage takers, for the perpetrators. They actually felt bad for them and wanted to stay and help them. Like that's just like off the charts, right? But that's what else happens. In fact, there's times where there are people that will try to save or rescue the victim from a domestic violence situation. And some of you can probably attest to this. And what ends up happening, it backfires, and the victim ends up getting angry at you and cuts you off because they really believe in their mind that this person loves them, because they've been gaslit so much. The reality has been so twisted. They don't know reality, and they're going to think you're the enemy, that you're the problem. They may even think you're jealous if, you got a situation where you may not even be related to the person. And maybe you've been with that person. Maybe you're a survivor of narcissistic abuse and you got out and there's a new person in the picture and you're just thinking to yourself, oh my goodness, like this poor person has no idea what they've just gotten into, because they won't, because they're being manipulated and love bombed just like we were. But you have to be careful, because sometimes it can backfire when you try to help. You may try to go to them and you'll try to warn them or say, be careful, like this is what they did to me. They sometimes will come back and think that you're jealous because, of course, the narcissist has been telling them you're crazy, that you're jealous. They're going to tell them that you are everything that they actually are. Okay, so they're manipulating the new girlfriend. So there's no point really in doing that if it's that situation. But if you're outside of the situation, you're a sister, a brother, a mom, a dad, a friend, you can do it. Just try to show a little bit of understanding, do a little bit of research. There's tons of information out there now. Preferably from Psychology Today is a good website, a good online research tool. To get some facts about it and to understand narcissism. So I think it's awesome that you want to be there for your friend or your family member. I think it's great. And kudos to you for wanting to be that support system to them. So thank you. Thank you to all the people that have supported me on my journey. You know who you are. And thank you to you, whoever you are, helping that person. You see they need help and you want to be there for them. So kudos to you. God bless you. And take care. Thanks for listening.